It's time for the Stoops Review with Toby Rowland, TJ Perry, and Hall of Fame head coach Bob Stoops. The Stoops Review is brought to you every week by Stride Bank. With local roots and national reach, Stride Bank is your go-to partner for all your banking needs. Stride Bank, your trusted financial partner since 1913. And now, with the Stoops Review, here's Toby Rowland, TJ Perry, and Bob Stoops.
How was your weekend, Coach? Do anything exciting?
No, it was very boring, which was great for a change, and just watched a lot of football like I always do.
Did you watch the Tyson fight Friday night?
I did. Very underwhelming, both fighters. I'm a big boxing fan, as you know, so
Yeah.
I was hoping for more. But, then you realize how old Iron Mike is, so, he just to be out there to go through it, you got to give it to him. But and I'm not much on the other guy as a fighter. I don't know. You put a real guy in there and look out.
Yeah.
A real fighter,
Yeah.
I mean. That's
right.
in his
Not
prime.
a Disney Channel guy. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Give me we need a good Boom Boom Mancini story today, Coach. Tell me about when you did you know early on that he was what he was growing up in Youngstown?
He was a really great athlete. He was really good, great baseball player. Football, he was a, juke back and a DB, and basketball, point guard. We were in all those together in grade school and Pop Warner. And then my dad, even when he started fighting, so his sophomore year, he gave up all the other sports and was just going to concentrate on the Golden Gloves, getting to the Olympics and that stuff. And he won we used to go see him in all the area places, stadiums. They'd play in indoor basketball arenas and fights. The Golden Gloves were big where we grew up. So
Yeah.
he'd win all those fights. And then he lost to, I believe it was Davy Armstrong, because of points to get to the Olympics. His style was more for pro boxing than it was for Olympics and gaining points and things like that, right? So he lost to Armstrong, and so he never did get to the Olympics. But giving up everything right out of high school, my dad had let him still come play baseball whenever he wanted. So whenever he was available, he was a left-handed pitcher and hitter.
Oh, really?
And yeah. So my dad had let him, of course, being a neighborhood kid, my dad, none of that, you got to be here every day if I'm going to play you. My dad just said, whenever you want to play, you just come and I'll put you in somewhere. So Ray still played baseball through high school, but none of the other sports, just boxed. Yeah, and then he just went to New York as soon as school was out when he graduated, went to New York and started training to be a professional fighter.
Ever getting one of these junior high or high school scraps growing up where somebody was like picking on him and you're like, listen, dude, you don't know what you're doing. You don't want to mess with Boom Boom.
I was home from college I think I was home from college. We were all out like around the holidays and somebody was bothering him at one of the joints we were at and it didn't take but one punch to the body and that guy was on the ground. So,
well, when's the last time? What's he doing now? Have you talked to him in a while?
Yeah, I just saw him a week ago in my mother's services. He lives in Youngstown, and he lives in Youngstown, married, and Tina, wonderful lady, and lives there. Does a lot of different. Every time I talk to him, he's flying somewhere to. Whether it call a boxing match or go do this, go do that. So he stays busy just with different appearances and things like that.
Still one of the great characters, TJ, especially boxing characters. You have a great nickname like that, too. Boom Boom Mancini.
Back in those days, they had to defend their title. I looked at 1 year. I think he fought 10 times in 1 year.
Wow.
Defending his title. And
that doesn't happen anymore. Yeah.
No, heck no. But so he was the lightweight champ of the world for like 3 years, and and defended the title like 20 times or, something like that.
Did you go to some of his title matches?
I went to a couple of his fights. Seemed like I was always playing. I was playing ball then or a GA. I didn't have many opportunities to go, but ones I did, I remember going to see him in Buffalo towards the end of his career. And when he lost to Livingston Bramble, me and a few buddies drove up from Youngstown to Buffalo. It's not too far. No,
no.
I had a ride this time.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, but it was really exciting. I always tell him I think it's remarkable what he did to be the lightweight champ of the world for 3 years.
Yeah.
That's pretty incredible.
Well, I mean, he's got a notable place in American sports history too, like everybody knows. Was he Boom Boom in high school, or did he get that nickname in the pros?
No, he kind of grew up with that nickname because that was his dad's nickname, and in the neighborhood, everyone would, everyone always, his dad was revered in our neighborhood, and everybody always would be on the lookout for him, and helping him around, and because he always would be walking somewhere, and everybody give him rides, wherever he was going to, and then Ray was a young guy that people would call him Boom, so he just kind of took over his father's nickname.
TJ, how about that pack though? Like, who's messing with that pack?
Nobody,
right?
Nobody.
Boom Boom, the Stoops brothers. Who else was running in your pack, Coach, that we would know?
You might know. Big Ed Moransky played at. You wouldn't know. He was an offensive lineman.
Yeah.
Played at Michigan. He also
I've heard you talk
graduated
about him
with
before,
us. Yeah. And then we had a big neighborhood of guys, man. It was you had no trouble filling up a baseball field or a basketball court, whatever it was. We had a lot of guys around.
And you had fist fights in the basement of somebody's house. I remember you told me that one time you'd have.
Well, we would
matches.
boxing matches. We would, according to size, we would all pair up and put on the gloves, and we'd, the unfinished basements, we'd put tape around or a rope around different sides, like this is the ring, and we'd all pair up and hit the pole and go 3 rounds, and somebody be in your corner as your coach. It was a ball, and then we'd all go out afterwards and drink a beer and laugh about it.
But no Boom Boom wasn't fighting in the basement.
No.
Boom Boom. We couldn't get Boom Boom hurt in the basement.
No one's getting in there with him. That's for sure.
Dan Mullen. We were talking about him before the break. What do you think about Dan Mullen, Coach?
I think he's a really good coach. From all that I've seen through the years, really like the guy too. I've been, talked to him a few times, but. So anyway, everybody has a track record, and to me, your track record matters, and he's got a positive one.
What games did you watch this weekend? What game jumped out at you from the South Carolina Missouri game was a great finish. Anything that caught your eye this weekend?
That one for sure. And I kind of thought South Carolina. Coach Beamer, they kind of got it going right now, and they were at their place, so good for them. No, that was a good, strong win. I thought, who else? I'm trying to think.
Oregon survived a tight one with Wisconsin. Texas,
that
Arkansas
surprised me. Yeah, Texas still looks great, I think. They look really strong. Their defense is playing so well. Because Arkansas has put up points on everybody, and to me that seems like a big difference with Texas now is defensively they seem to really be playing well. And then, who was the other one you said? I
Oregon?
kind of picked. Yeah, that surprised me that was that close, and may show that Oregon has some vulnerability. I thought
Florida knocked off LSU, handed them another loss.
Yeah, being that it's in the swamp, that doesn't totally surprise me. And I you get them in the right way playing in the swamp, and that can get pretty rowdy, and they fed off it and played a good game. But I think LSU is showing some some issues, obviously, losing 3 in a row. Anyhow, I thought USC, looked strong to finish, to win 28-20. It doesn't surprise me, Arizona State. Boy, that guy has it going on.
Wow.
It's not easy to beat Kansas State at Kansas State like that, And I did watch some of that. I really like what they're doing. Arizona State's doing a good job.
I think they're picked last or next to last in the Big 12 preseason poll, and they might be in the championship game.
I know.
He has done a great job out Dillingham, right?
Yeah, Dillingham and the running back. Jeez, how do you say his name?
Scatapoo, is that right, TJ? Scatapoo?
Yeah, I think that's right, yeah.
Scatapoo.
Yeah. Boy, you got to like that, man. That guy, man, he's tough.
That's a Youngstown name right there.
Scatapoo, yeah. Could be.
Kenny Dillingham is 34 years old, but he's fun to watch. He's fired up on the sidelines and everything. Yeah, I like them. How about what Deion's doing, Coach?
Yeah, you got to give it to him.
Yeah.
Definitely. And the more I watch him, I'm just so impressed with not just Shedeur, the quarterback, but the receivers. There's so many good receivers to me that are showing the explosiveness and making those big plays. They look really good.
Well, Alabama coming to town this week. Big test, obviously. Sooners a 2-touchdown underdog. They had an easy one this week. The Crimson Tide did. You had some great showdowns with Bama, Coach, when you were here at OU. When they came here, I think of that as the Ronaldo Works game. That's the guy who jumps out. What do you remember about that Saturday? They kind of unloaded all the trick plays and everything at you that game.
Yeah, they sure did. Whether it be the fake or the surprise onside kick, fake field goal, they did everything. Like you said, they emptied the war chest on us. And fortunately, we made enough big plays here and there to win the game with Ronaldo making some big plays. And then Eric Bassey picking up the fumble.
Yeah.
Who stripped it? I'm trying to think. Was it JJ or?
I'd have to look back. I don't remember. Somebody out there knows. They'll text us.
And Eric Bassey picks it up and scores and kind of sealed the game for us. But, yeah, that was a little bit of a nightmare game. When they kick a blooper kickoff, and it goes right through one of our guys is maybe Trent Rattery. It goes right through the bread basket, and they recover that as well. So everything that could have gone wrong did, but we still fortunate to win.
That was still Francione, right?
Yes.
Shula was the next year. Okay.
Yeah, right. That was Dennis Francione.
2002, 37-27 the final score.
The Stoops Review, presented by Stride Bank, is brought to you in part by Fowler Automotive. Fowler Automotive is proud to be part of your community, where our passion and values lie far beyond the showroom.
Coach, I wanted to ask you about the 2013 game against Bama, the Sugar Bowl game. I think you guys were a bigger underdog going into that than they are Saturday right now, maybe 16, something like that. What do you remember about maybe your feeling and the game plan going in? It was a big mystery as to who was going to play quarterback. What were your thoughts going into that game? Did you feel like you had a good shot?
Sure. We always have a good shot, and I felt like we had a really good few weeks of work. I really liked the way we were, practicing. I can remember not, the big to-do about what I said about SEC schools, that not all of them, back then they acted like I totally took a shot at everybody, and I was like, wait a second, if the entire SEC is Georgia and Alabama, then they are, have been the best, but I just basically there's, the other half of the league, are a bunch of teams you wouldn't mind playing. So anyway, that was, turned into a big deal. But I felt I didn't bring it up the whole time. And I felt the players had my back. I said, I know they're hearing it. And, and they wanted to back me up. And, and I know a lot of writers out there had their story written that we were going to get destroyed. And they had that's what I said after the game. I said there was a whole lot of deleting going on. So and then we get out there, man, and we played. We really played well. Defense was getting pressure and doing great, and Trevor Knight was hot, and Colton Bester. We had all kind of guys making plays, and and it just got rolling that way, and then at the end, with the Eric Stryker with the strip sack and Grissom picking it up. So all of it we were hot that night, definitely.
It was a magical night. One of my favorite OU games that I've ever been to. And I think it was, not just that you beat Alabama, because you were such a big underdog and played almost a perfect game, Coach, it felt like, that night.
No, you're right. It was every phase of it was really solid and good. And I think they gave us a little bit of a break by not playing Derrick Henry longer. In fact, I thanked their running back coach. I saw him out recruiting at a school about a month later, and I said, thanks for not playing him the whole game. And he started laughing. He goes, we thought about that after the game.
He was a freshman, right?
Yeah.
I think he was like the third-team running back going in, and then he got onto the field. I'm like, holy cow, this guy's a monster.
Oh, my gosh. He went running past me. I was like, get out of the way. Yeah.
They're still saying that in the NFL. So that game
no
and then the championship game against LSU, is that the only two games you've gone head-to-head with Saban?
Yes.
1-1, head-to-head. Right? Yeah. 1-1.
Yeah. He got the more important one, though, the national championship one, and that was a good game. We were back and forth. Building. It was tight, and then thought I kind of had it in my head too. That last drive we overthrow Kewan Jones, who's 10 yards behind everybody. Mm-hmm. If we have a chance to tie him there, and I kind of had it in my head that I was going to go for two if we scored.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's just such a long, it was just such a rotten experience being down there with LSU and the Sugar Bowl and New Orleans and the whole atmosphere. It was like, let's get the hell out of here.
See, it's not just me, Toby. It was even Bob.
Let's go for two and get out of here. So I take it you're not going to Baton Rouge with us next weekend, Coach?
No, you'll have to do that. I've done that before.
My favorite memory of your win over Bama in 2013, TJ, I'm sure I've told you this, but maybe not. There's always a hospitality room in the team hotel. And, it's got some snacks or drinks in it for people who travel with the team or sponsors or whatever. It was up, I don't want to say on the top floor of this. So as the week's going on, we're there for like a week. Every once in a while, I'd get hungry, or Plank would go, hey, I'm going to the hospitality room. You want me to grab you a sandwich or whatever? So the hospitality room is where, if we want some free food, we go. So the game ends. It's a night game. We do the whole post game. It's, 1 o'clock in the morning. We get back to the team hotel, and I'm starving. So I was like, hey, Plank, let's go to the hospitality room, see if it's still open and see if there's any food up there. And we go up there, and I don't know if you remember this, Coach, but Coach Stoops, Mike Stoops, and Toby Keith are all sitting on the couch in the hospitality room watching the replay of OU and Alabama in the Sugar Bowl on TV. And I was like, this is awesome. I didn't bother them. I just went and got a drink and left. But I was like, look at that. The Stoops brothers and Toby Keith all watching the game back together. You remember that at all, Coach?
Not really. No, but there were plenty of times, though. I always Toby and I'd hang out after a lot of games. And so that doesn't surprise me. But, Yeah, like I said, I never could sleep after games anyway, so I'm sure I was up all night, and win or lose, I can't. So anyway, a lot of times Toby'd be keeping me company.
It was one of those games, too, that over the years everybody wants to talk about bowl games and their importance being diminished and all of that. That proved that night, how important sometimes those bowl games are and how much fun they are. And I remember the stores opening early to sell the Sooner Magic shirts, and it was a big time few days there following that game, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Well, what do they got to do to do it again Saturday, Coach? What's the keys to pulling off an upset Saturday in your mind?
Just get hot. Find a way to get hot on offense. Defense continue to play well. Come up with some key turnovers like we almost did, last week, and play cleaner. Just you have to take care of the football. We talk about it every week. We haven't done it. You've got to take care of the ball first and foremost. Get hot, make some key plays defensively, continue to really, do well with your special teams, which we have. Our kicker and punter have been fantastic.
Yeah.
So we got to play a cleaner game, and if you do, you keep it tight. You make a play or two that makes the difference.
TJ, the weather's looking better.
Yeah, it's improved. This week isn't going the way that they thought. Last week at this time we thought this massive cold front was coming in, but that doesn't appear to be the case now.
Saturday high of 66.
Did you guys just get that storm that blew through?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
That was
it was coming in sideways.
that was amazing.
Your house okay, Coach?
Yeah, so far it looks like it is. I don't see any leaks anywhere.
I don't know if I've asked you. How do you feel about the 12-team playoff? You think it's a good idea or too many?
My opinion, it's too many. I would have liked to have seen 8. I don't know. I just and there's going to be debate now. You just wait for it. It's going to be interesting too with these huge conferences with the Big Ten and SEC and then the Big 12 too with all these teams. It's going to be interesting how it all unfolds. But I guess I'd have liked to have seen us start with 8 and see how that would work. But 12, it's hard to complain if you're not in it now.
Right. It will be. I like it. TJ hates it. I like it because I'm for more fun college football games that matter in the postseason, and I think this will give us more. But I might be wrong. It may be too many.
It'll be interesting. I never wanted to see conference championship games be meaningless. So hopefully that doesn't happen.
Well, it could be. I mean, there's a scenario where if you lose the conference championship game, it knocks you out of this thing, and a team that didn't have to play in it gets in. You could have a 2-loss SEC team that loses a tiebreaker to another 2-loss SEC team, and the 2-loss team that made it into the championship game now has 3 losses because they lost, and it's not advantageous to make it to your conference championship game, and that's no good at all. We got to figure out a way that's not.
That's what I mean. I don't like that part of it. Although, when we won it in 2000, I can remember I used to write each game coming up on the grease board, and one under another, and then I would underline it if we won. Then I'd write the next team, in the scouting report the next week and who we're going to play. And I can remember at that time we're undefeated, going to play Kansas State in the Big 12 championship game, and I erased the board, all 11 games where we're undefeated. I said, that's what we have right now. We have nothing, right? I said, we don't have anything right now. So I erased the whole board, and then I put up Big 12 championship, Kansas State. And I said, we need to win this game and underline it to get to the national championship game. So, So it's not like this is the first time there. You've got to win your championship game to get there.
Would you, if asked, be on the college football playoff committee?
I doubt it. No, I don't think I would.
Yeah, I think that's smart. You can't do anything but make people mad if you do that, Coach.
Right.
Yeah, you don't need it. They do usually have a couple of.
It would get in the way of my radio show here with K-Ref.
Thank you for your loyalty.
That's right.
Have you been asked?
Not for the playoff. No.
No. Seems like he answered that very.
He was hinting at something
TJ,
there. Yeah,
we're just going to let it go.
He was asked something.
We're just going to let it go.
No, that's fine with me. I am part of the College Hall of Fame committee that voting on, coaches and players, that kind of thing.
Yeah. That's kind of cool. Have you watched any of Porter's team or Jenny's basketball? I know you're a big basketball fan, Coach. Have you got to see them play yet this year?
I have. They're fantastic. Wow, and I'm excited for both of them. I know I keep in touch with Porter a lot, and he loves his new team. I got a chance with you at their, at one of the functions to hear all the players talk. Man, what a great group of guys they have. So it's going to be fun to watch them this year and follow them. And the same with Jenny. She had a real, she's back-to-back Big 12 champs, and she said, the pieces she added this year, they're even better. So good for them. I'm excited to keep watching them too.
Yeah, that Reagan Beers that they picked up from Oregon State, the post, she's unbelievable. And they pretty much had everybody else back. So, I mean, I don't know. You know how this works. You got to have a good draw and stay healthy and everything. But, I mean, I don't think Final Four is out of the realm of possibility for them. Yeah, at least Sweet 16.
No.
So they got a really special team. That'd be fun. Speaking of health, that reminds me. Obviously, it's been well documented, the injuries this year for OU, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Is it true that in 2000, the entire two deep stayed healthy for you all year long?
I believe it is. I don't.
That's astonishing, Coach.
I don't recall losing anyone. It just sort of happened. We were good, and I tell you what, too, we even first day we get to Miami, we ran the players, to just get them the lungs stretched out, and then the next day we had a live scrimmage. We tackled to the ground live scrimmage for about 30 plays, so we weren't worried about getting anybody hurt, obviously.
It's well past, so we don't need to worry about jinxing anything or knocking on wood at this point. I mean, you did it. But when you were going through that, I mean, did you realize – because that's astonishing. When you look at this year's team and how many guys have missed games, at the time were you like, this is incredible how healthy we've stayed?
No, I didn't really acknowledge it. We just sort of – you didn't want to overanalyze it, if that makes sense. You just keep going, Yeah, and we got in a pretty good routine and rhythm of practicing and, and what we were doing. We conditioning early in the year, and then we backed off on that later in the year because, at a certain point the guys have run enough. Anyway, it just sort of we were fortunate how it all worked out. Well, Josh got hurt. He actually hurt his hand in that week leading up to the game, and I can remember watching him throw in warm-ups, and the ball was going everywhere because he couldn't hold it, he couldn't grip it, and I looked at Chuck Long like, "What are we? Was this going to be okay?" And Chuck just sort of shrugged and put his hands up like, "What are we going to do now?" We're going with them. There was no doubt about it, and that's why in that game, a few of the balls aren't the usual, what Josh usually threw, So he was just fighting through it, and fortunately, obviously we made enough plays to get it done.
Well, I mean, you didn't give up any points, so that certainly helped.
That was a defensive, maybe the best ever defensive performance.
Masterpiece. Yeah, that was a masterpiece against a unbelievable Florida State offense that you guys absolutely shut down that night. So that was a great memory. Great memory. I watched the game sitting between Bill Tegans and Dean Blevins in the media area that night. Yeah, that was fun. All right, well, Coach, we love it. Always fun talking to you. Yeah, he was absolutely.
Thank you, guys. Toby, TJ, good to be with you like always. Boomer Sooner.
See you, Coach. See you Saturday.